let's start getting into them.
Sure.
And some of these players that we're going to talk about. And on your top 60 rankings for Dynasty, you do note that it's typical for leagues to be now super flex. And so we got to keep that in mind. We'll touch upon a few players that if it was just a single QB league, where would they rank amongst this shift? But when it is super flex, I agree with you. It's pretty tough to not look at the quarterbacks here. And we got a very interesting top 3 with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance there. Now, how do you rank these guys? And can you kind of explain how you decided on the order and what you either like or dislike about each prospect?
Is it unprofessional to say just flip a coin on any of these guys? Like, I think Trevor Lawrence separates himself just because he's sort of the whole package. And I think, as a passer, he's pretty unparalleled, I think, in this class. Like, just he's done it for the longest. He's proven like year in, year out, accuracy, arm strength, all the physical tools that you want. And he also has like the running capability. He really reminds me a lot. I didn't use this as my comp. I went with like, John Elway or whatever, because it was like that's how big he was as a prospect. But he reminds me of Justin Herbert as a player profile type guy, like kind of a tall, skinny guy with a good athleticism, good arm. Kind of like a complete skill set. So I think Trevor Lawrence just gets the nod because of he just checks so many boxes, and, he's done it against top competition throughout his college career. So I just think, your odds of him hitting, I think, are strong. I went with Justin Fields over Trey Lance, even though I think they have a very similar skill set. I liked Lance's landing spot quite a bit more than Justin Fields. I think that he's set up for success immediately. I think that he's going to be with a good coach. They have good, skill position group guys that are going to really elevate his game. All of those guys can just take like a little slant and pick up 50 yards or whatever. The run game is going to support him. Justin Fields doesn't really have that. There's a few guys that are talented. Like Allen Robinson's good, obviously. Darnell Mooney's on the up and up, but it's just not the same supporting cast. But I kind of just wanted to stay true to my pre-draft rankings a little bit. I just had Justin Fields higher. I think he is like literally the platonic ideal of what you'd want as a fantasy quarterback. Like he's uber, he's like elite accuracy. Like PFF has charted all his accuracy stuff. He's one of the most accurate quarterbacks they've ever tracked. That seems to get lost in the shuffle somehow. He's like elite accuracy. He's also a 4.4 guy. He doesn't run. Maybe he may not end up running as much as Trey Lance does in the pros, but he can run. He's very fast. I think that they'll use him in the run game, to kind of change up like the defensive looks and all that. I think he'll probably end up being more like on a Dak Prescott's like spectrum or whatever, as like a rusher. Like maybe they'll utilize him a lot in the red zone rather than, a Jalen Hurts type of deal. But I think he has the rushing upside. I think he has the potential to score a lot of touchdowns with his legs, kind of like, I guess, like a poor man's Cam Newton. And so I ended up putting Fields number 2. I don't feel like super strongly about that, though, because I love Lance's landing spot. The things I think that make me like pause about Lance and make me a little bit hesitant about Lance is just his lack of experience. Like, number one, against good quality good quality defenses. He played at a lower level. He didn't really play in 2020. He's like played one game. It was a exhibition game, more or less. And he has very few overall attempts in his college career. Justin Fields has more attempts. He has more starting experience. He had it against better competition. I mean, we saw what he did against Clemson. I think that matters. So I guess when it comes to like bust potential, there's just a little bit of like an alarm bell ringing in my head about Trey Lance, just because of his lack of experience against big time talent. But that's not me saying I think he's going to bust. I just think it's just a little bit, it's just holding me back a little bit on kind of like, I guess his risk profile or whatever. So that's kind of how I rank those 3 guys. I think, I love Justin Fields. I think I've been above consensus, or at least like the national consensus on Fields. I don't know. I still don't understand why he fell in the draft, and he was the 4th quarterback taken, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually have Fields at the top of my rankings.
Sweet.
Because of everything that you were saying there. As a Pats fan, I was like, come on, trade up, go get him, or somehow fall to us.
Yes.
And, Mac Jones, not a bad consolation, but still,
Right.
I would pray, and somehow Fields fell to us. I don't get what was going on with that fall. I think he's going to prove everyone tremendously wrong.
Yeah.
I have him right up there. I actually do have Lawrence, the 3rd of these guys, but he's the safest. He's the highest floor. So if you're like a dynasty team that needs that immediate, I know what I'm getting, I'm with you. But as you mentioned, the Konami upside, just we've seen how huge of an edge that can be. So I typically go for that rushing upside there.
If
For sure.
I was gonna just to interject, like honestly, I think you want to test your rankings against what you actually do with teams. Like if I'm sitting at the number 1 spot, I'd rather trade back to 3, honestly,
Yeah,
and
right?
get a little extra value, pick up like a veteran guy or like a early second or a late first round pick, and then pick either Fields or Lance. I'd almost rather do that, even though I've got Lawrence ranked higher, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like the tiers, right? So they're
Yeah.
so equal and it's so tough to, pick out what is the reason I have this guy so much higher. They're not so much higher. Exactly. Like, so
Yeah.
why not get the value moved down if possible? Totally agree with that assessment. I do think those 3 in particular just can't miss either way for super flex for long-term value. I think they're all going to be great. So I'm with you. Exactly. Trade down, get the value there for sure. And Wolfpack, if you are tuned in and you don't mind giving this a thumbs up, whether you're catching the replay live, a retweet, share, all that good stuff, helping us get out to more people, grow the pack is so appreciated. So thank you. If you consider doing that for us, it is greatly appreciated, guys. Well, what is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.